Lovely to be with you. As always, I'm Rabbi Jordan Bendat-Appell. I'm a senior faculty fellow at the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, also part of a clergy team at a synagogue here in Toronto, and lovely to be with you. Um, we are expecting Rabbi Marcelo Bronstein to join us today. We'll see if he shows up. I hope he's okay. As we all know, things can happen. Technologically and otherwise, so we're holding Marcelo in our hearts. But we'll move forward with the sit, and thanks to Natalie, who's holding the tech today. Natalie, feel free to chime in or just bring in Marcelo when he gets here. Thank you. With that thumbs up. Thanks, Natalie. So this week, we are in the week of Parashat Matot Maseh. We're finishing the end of the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. And these two Torah portions, Parshiot, that we read together, have a number of interesting, sometimes odd, sometimes repetitive, but different kinds of accounts, and it's bringing into a close in for a landing this whole book of Bamidbar, in the wilderness, or in English we call it the book of Numbers, which also, like these two parshiot, have this quality, kind of a multifaceted sense to them, and there's a real emphasis in the sense of wilderness journey, and really the journey, the people moving. If you leave out the first years and the last years of the 40 years in the wilderness, because in those years they moved quite a bit, but leaving out those those 2 years, so in 38 years, the middle 38 years, the Israelites went to 20 stations, 20 over 38 years. It's pretty interesting because when we look at the whole 40 years, like our lives, there's a mixture of moving a lot, different kinds of moving, and also staying. And of course, even if we never leave our hometown in our whole lives, we're still moving. There's always movement, and there's always stillness, and there's always a combination of those. Our practice is one of bringing balance into our lives and cultivating how we might enter into that balance. I very much see that and experience it in my own practice, that I identify my periods of practice like we're doing now as opportunities to train in deepening my capacity for being in my life in a certain kind of way. And so for today, my invitation, and as always, take it or leave it, but my invitation is to practice with this kind of stepping into this dynamic of movement and stillness, and to see if, as we're sitting here, we look like people who are pretty still as we're just sitting here. But as we all know, as soon as we start paying attention, even if we're very, very still, we notice movement. That's kind of the one thing that we always notice. When we pay attention to our present moment experience, we always notice movement. And so our practice is about cultivating how we are present with this experience of movement and relative stillness. And I really rely upon, and those of you who are, been students of mine, that for me, one of the primary ways that I think about Jewish mindfulness practice, very simply, is with this rubric of chesed and emet. Sorry, it's flipped for you. I think that was flipped for you. Chesed and emet. Yeah. Oh, it's good. Okay. It was flipped for me for some reason. In any case, chesed and emet. Chesed means love or loving kindness. Emet means truth, but especially in the context of this practice, I really think about it as an orientation of honest looking, honest witnessing. What's true in this moment right now? And so in my practice, I'm bringing those two qualities to bear. And as I suggested and invited, today perhaps we're kind of shining those two orientations onto the experience of movement, even as we sit still. And so what does that look like? So number one, chesed. To me, chesed is primarily about orienting ourselves towards our experience with warmth and love. As we all know, when somebody receives us in that kind of way, it changes everything. When we, encounter somebody or something in our lives, and we naturally hold them with a kind of warmth and care, that changes everything. Whatever they say, whatever happens, it's held in that embrace, and it's framed by that. And we also know, of course, the opposite to be true. If we're received with cold, harshness, with judgment, with suspicion, we know that that changes everything as well. So we're actively cultivating an orientation of chesed, of warmth, of love, of kindness towards ourselves and our experience, towards the world in this moment. And today, perhaps in relation to movement and stillness, maybe we just, even as we sit still, our minds just can't seem to stop moving. What if we hold that with an extra measure of chesed today? Oh, mind, you're doing your mind thing. You're going all over the place. Like the Buddhists call it monkey mind. As living in Toronto, I think of it as squirrel mind, like jumping from branch to branch, moving. What if we just hold that not with judgment, but with kindness and love? And then the second quality of emet, truth, honest looking, to really lean into and double down on our capacity to bear witness honestly, to see what's there, whatever's there, knowing that it is often the case that things are not how we would want them to be or how they once were. Of course, they weren't, or what we think they will be, or what we deserve for them to be. All may be valid, but from this perspective of really honest looking, what's there? And so when we pay attention to our lived experience, and we'll go into the period of practice in just a moment, but if we go into it with holding together these qualities of, you see it's important to me, I put it on my wall, chesed and emet, love and honest looking. To hold our experience in that light, that's our practice. And knowing that we'll lose track of it and returning back to that intention over and over again, that returning back, that teshuvah, that returning, that, okay, this is how I'm training and being in my life, and I'm really going to focus on it for these next, 15 minutes. So that's what we'll do. Again, lovely to be with you, and hope this is a beautiful island of peace and connection for you in this day. And I'll start the period and conclude with a bell. Thank you, everybody. As always, we seal our practice with Kadisha Tom, Mourner's Kaddish. Natalie, could you? Great. Thank you. And so if you'd like to unmute yourself and recite out loud, holding in your hearts anybody whom you are reciting Kaddish for. Yit Gadal, Yit Shmi Rabam Maya Dar Shme Lam Shata Bashirata Shkata Miran Bialma Vimru Ame Ishlama Rabba Min Shemaya Alim El Vimru Amen Say Shalom Birumav Say Shalom Miru Bial Kol Yoshmi Vimru
Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Really a pleasure to sit with you, as always. Just a couple of announcements before we close this part. And as always, if anybody would like to stay on for another 15 minutes, if you have any questions or want to share any observations or comments from the sit, certainly welcome that. But just to remind you that there are many other opportunities happening at IJS. Please, you can click on the link there if you to check out more of what's going on. We are so grateful for your support in enabling us to offer these free resources to so many, and just again, so moving, people joining from all over the world, coming together as a virtual community that's much more than virtual, meaning like not real. It's very real. So really grateful to you all. Thank you so much, Natalie, for help with the tech. And also we'll check in with our friend Marcelo Bronstein, make sure he is doing okay, and I'm sure he'll be back for another teaching soon. We'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern. Again, you could check out what's going on in the chat if you'd like to donate to support these sits. And also, we welcome sponsorships of these daily sits for $180. So really grateful to you for your support. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon. And again, if anybody would like to stick around, if you have any questions or want to share any observations from your practice today, would love to hear from you. Oh, Marcelo.
Jordan.
Hello.
I have a great teaching about being present. That being present depends on what time zone. So I wrote it in the wrong time zone. So my deepest apologies for everybody. First of all, I just arrived from Spain, so I'm jet lagged, but I put it in Costa Rica time zone. So mamash balagan. So it's being present. I was ready to be present, 2 hours from now, an hour from now. So my apologies to all of you, especially to you, Jordan, and to IJS, the organization. I owe you one. So it's a matter of scheduling. I'm so sorry.
All good. I've definitely been there before. So yeah, we're holding you with love, really. All good. All
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anything you want to share? A little, little taste of some Torah?
It's I don't want to give what I want to give, but it's I live in the intersection between psychology and mindfulness and Jewish wisdom, and it's I'm having an insight about the type of work and how this meet. So I wanted to share that insight. It's nothing really. It's not rocket science, but it's not some. You know what? Sometimes Jordan, what is obvious becomes evident.
Yeah,
So that was a little bit of that. So, but I leave it as a teaser for next time.
beautiful.
I'm trying to avoid not to feel stupid. But you would see my calendar, it says 12:15 connect with Jordan.
No
Okay, that was
problem.
12:15. Okay, the wrong 12:15. So
Uh,
I owe you one. I owe you all of you one.
we'll
Okay.
definitely we'll definitely reschedule. This group I know loves to receive your wisdom and practice with you, so we'll follow up for sure.
Thank
Really,
you. Thank
all
you.
good, all good.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you.
Thank you. I want to open it up to the group. Anybody have anything, questions, comments from the practice today? Uh, Maybe just a thumbnail for Marcelo and for everybody else. But we were reflecting on as we're coming into the end of Parshat Bamid, of Sefer Bamidbar, and reflecting on the movements through the wilderness and just the reality of movement in our lives, even as we're sitting still, all the movement inside. Um, and my invitation was to practice, with the kind of the foundations of our practice, that of holding our experience with chesed, loving kind of warmth, and also with emet, with the kind of honest looking, witnessing what's going on internally with as we sit still and feel all that movement. I definitely resonate with this feeling of traveling and time zones, and we're always all moving in all kinds of ways, even if we're not traveling. But how do we hold that and also practice cultivating a kind of stillness? Oh, I see a question from Valerie about what's the connection between these two. And she asked about maybe via gematria. I truly don't know. I have not looked into that, but it's an interesting question. But I can say that on a perhaps more basic level, these concepts of chesed and emet are brought together biblically a number of times, number of different scenarios, some with the biblical, ancestors. Yaakov asked to be treated with chesed and emet. They're also right in the middle of the 13 divine attributes, the Yod Gimel Midot that we say in the season of the high holidays, which comes from this intimate encounter between Moshe and the divine. Hashem El Rachum V'Chanun Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed Ve'emet. And it continues from there, but it's kind of right there in the middle. And some other examples. Um, uh, um, and so they're kind of brought together as a complement. Um, and I find it to be a very helpful way of thinking about what Jewish mindfulness is, that it's a practice of really cultivating these two qualities and orienting ourselves towards our lives with these qualities. Um, Great. I see a reflection from Harris. I found my monkey mind focused on things I have/want to do and notice them with chesed and emet help me to let go and feel into the sit. Beautiful. That's it. Uh, yeah, I love the sometimes simplicity I think naturally we may be skeptical that it's kind of it's too simple, but I am a big believer in the power of the simple truths. And I think this is one of those. And it's very clear. We see things happening. I see it. I hold it warmly and return back to present moment experience. Simple but not easy, Julie. Yeah, totally. Totally. I have you ever walked into like a kindergarten classroom, especially like like in a Jewish school, and it's true in non-Jewish schools as well, but they won't be Jewish sayings on the walls. But you see in a Jewish school the kind of these basic, like actually really foundational ethical and wisdom teachings as posters for children. And I often feel like, oh yeah, simple but not easy. And I want those, I need those like around my house um, because it's not like I've mastered those. Yeah. Rona, I think the two wings of Buddhism are compassion and truth. Yeah, absolutely. There's a beautiful synergy between those ideas for sure. Great. Any other questions, comments anybody wants to share? Okay, wonderful. Again, thanks everybody. Um, Rabbi Marcelo, oh, we're grateful to you. And actually, maybe we'll just close with Susan's question. Um, how would you distinguish truth versus honest looking? Great question. I think about truth as um, a statement about what is happening, and upon analysis, I think we could all agree that in any given moment, the truth has there are many levels of truth operating simultaneously. And truth is a multifaceted uh, gem. And so to say it's truth is a complicated thing, actually, because the reality of everything is dynamic. It's always changing, and again, it's multifaceted and has multiple levels of reality operating simultaneously. So that's, I think, an interesting exploration. But from the perspective of practice, I I translate emet and kind of employ it in the practice as honest looking or honest seeing, um, because that's really about how am I orienting myself towards my experience, not focused on getting to the truth, but how can I witness what is unfolding in this moment as honestly as I can, and holding the reality that there are multiple levels operating simultaneously. It's like I often think about this when I look outside at the tops of trees moving set against a blue sky, and I think, yeah, like my mind naturally goes to the movement of the leaves, and I think I could ask the question like, what's the truth of that movement in the leaves? But at the very same, it has certain quality to it, right? All that movement, but just beyond it is a wide open space. And so if I ask the question, which is true, blue sky or tree movement, of course, both are true. So in any given moment of life, I can expect that my mind is usually going to be drawn towards the movement, um, especially if I feel like there's something amiss or something that needs to be figured out or something I'm concerned about. But at the same moment, for example, There's also a truth of wide open blue sky, that in my practice, I can orient myself towards that as well. So it's holding as big a kind of an opening to truth as possible. But in our practice, I'm really, orienting myself towards, how am I orienting, pointing myself towards my experience and receiving it, witnessing it. That language of witnessing is a very strong Jewish language as well. Um, in our tradition. Great, great. Thanks for the comments. Um, Amazing. A lot of gratitude, and I know Rabbi Marcelo, people are excited for you to return. Again, no worries at all about the sit today, and gratitude to you all for being part of this beautiful community. And hope today's a sweet one for you, and look forward to reconnecting again soon. Um, Thanks again, Natalie, for your help on the tech. Have a great day, everybody.